Chang here with a review and installation video. We're going to be installing this 1110 rigid tourniquet case, that's for a cat tourniquet, onto the front of a Safariland holster using this 1110 adapter. So we're going to go ahead and start rolling with this. You're going to need some extra Safariland screws. These are going to be too short. I believe these are installed with the mediums. We'll get into that. You'll definitely need the Allen key for the Safariland screws, and you will need a Phillips head screwdriver, and you will need a right angle screwdriver with a flat tip to help you remove the Chicago screws. All right, so I have the Molly version of the rigid TQ case. Got it off of Amazon. It's held on by these two Phillips head screws with Chicago head screws. If you aren't familiar with them, they look like that on the inside. So the one on the bottom might be a little bit of a bear to get to, so I'm just going to I'm going to put this in and try to get it to bite, and then I'm going to go ahead and let's just move all this, start undoing the screw. And it did bite, so that screw doesn't feel like the screw is just spinning. Oh, I'm going to need a better angle here, so give me 1 second, I'll be right back. All right, so I had to reposition the light to actually get that slotted screw tip to get into that Chicago screw, and it feels like this is coming out now. All right, so that's out. I would save that. You're going to need that for the installation onto the kit. And then this particular Chicago screw right here, you probably hold with your finger. I'm going to try just holding it with the finger, and then oh, it's definitely spinning, so we're going to have to get a screwdriver in here. So need that light. Let's see where this go. See if it starts biting, if I have it in the right spot. I'll be back again. I had to do the same thing. I had to get that light in there so I could get that slotted screwdriver tip to sit. So 1110 does put either Vibratite. It's red. I'm pretty sure it's not red Loctite. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to just use the screwdriver to get it off. But that's the last we're going to need of that. These malice clips come off. I'm going to save these. I'll use them for some other accessory. And then we get the two Chicago screws to come out. Like I said, we're going to save these. All right. So we'll set that aside. So let's go ahead and open this up. So there are some directions online, other YouTube videos, but it would be nice if they included a set of directions. Unfortunately, they do not. Sort of self-explanatory. Again, I say sort of. So this side fits here. These three go right here, right? This end goes right there, right? And these would mount up to screws that you put in here. So let's go ahead and get that started. All right, so what I would recommend doing is getting these screws started first. So it takes a little bit of balancing, but you're going to get, like I said, it takes a little balancing. You're going to go ahead and try to get this to seat into that far hole. This is the part of the installation that takes the longest. So I'll give this one more try. There you go. So I don't know if you can see that, but I got it into that hole right there. I'm gonna hold that in place. I'm gonna grab a screw. And I'm gonna start it. Excuse me. Now you notice I used one of the rubber grommets that came with. Let me see if I just started with my fingers. There you go. So that's all I need. I don't want to cinch it down too tight because this has to slide on here before I tighten it down. And I'm going to do that for these two and these three. And this is why I said you should save the original screws that came with these here. So let me go ahead and get that done. Don't want to bore you with y'all just watching me put screws in, so I'll be right back. All right. Some of you may notice that I used, they have these little, I don't know, these washers or O-rings. I'm presuming that they go like this. They seem to provide a little tension against the screws, so you don't have to use things like Loctite. But you don't want those screws coming loose either. So go ahead and just get a couple of twists on that. So this, well, that was unsuccessful. Let's try that again. Herp to derp. There you go. So goes on the holster like this. So this side, that's going to be on the this edge. I don't know. You want to call this left or right, depending on how you're looking at it. This goes towards the back side of the holster. How's that? All right. So what I want to try to do, so I want to try to, oh, that one fell out. Let's go ahead and redo this. Hold on. All right. Attempt number 2. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this to slide underneath the screws. So that definitely will work. That top screw, we had it working on the bottom there. So get that back on there. There's the second screw. Looks like it'll fit. And I just kind of push them on. And I'm going to tighten them down. So I'm going to hold pressure against these 3 spots and tighten them down. So this second screw is really loose, so I can hold the back of it. Tighten it down a little bit. I'm not sure that this front one seated correctly because it was so tight, so I loosened up a half a turn, pushed that in. I definitely felt that move forward. Holding the back of the screw here, holding on to that Chicago screw so it doesn't fall out. And then I can go ahead and torque that down. Again, when doing the second screw, I'm pushing this plastic plate against the screw just to make sure it's seated correctly. And I'm going to tighten that up. I'm going to try to do the same thing with this. This has got to go here. It's got to go here, so orientation is this way. trying to get this one seated first. Right now, just trying to force these on. See that? There you go. So got those forced on. I'm gonna start by tightening this one. Again, putting pressure on the plastic thing. So get that to seat correctly. Tighten that down just a little bit. Come to the top screw, loosen just a little bit so I can actually squeeze that in, because that wasn't loose enough for it to seat correctly. I'm actually putting pressure right across here to get pressure on these screws here. Tighten down. Timber. There we go. Tighten that down. There's no torque specs, inch poundage, or anything like that. I'm just tightening them to finger tight. I know that's not a value. Apologize, not much I can do about that. I'm getting them to tight. I can see the O-ring deforming in the back there, so I know I'm getting tight enough. Okay. So now I got to work on the holster. So get my spare screws and see if I have any of the longer or medium-sized screws. So that's a long one. So these three would be for these, because I am adding a little bit of extra plastic here. I want to make sure that I get enough purchase with the screws. And then mediums, maybe this medium will work. So here's one of the short ones. And as you can see here, I believe this is one of the short ones. Oh. Yeah, see, it's a short screw. So we're going to need a slightly longer one again, because we're adding some plastic here. So we'll take these, put those aside. These are the three that we're going to use. These look like the long ones. Yeah, well, maybe I'll just use the ones that came with. Let's take a look at this one. Usually when you buy the QLS, you will have extra, they will include extra screws. So we're going to go ahead and get this slid on here. So this piece goes there first. Okay. I'm actually going to get that screw just started. It is lined up now. Safariland does include the Allen key, and there's no markings on it, so unfortunately I can't tell you what keys they are off the top of my head. Okay. So now we're going to want to install the QLS fork here. I like a straighter cant, as straight as possible. I don't like running a real severe cant on my holsters. So let's go ahead and get this base in, the bottom screw. Okay. So that's not even snug yet. You see I can move that. Get this one started. That's as far as it'll go. So that one's slightly snug. Go ahead and get this. So it looks like for this holster setup, I didn't have to use these longer screws. On this one though, I definitely did swap out to longer screws. These actually had medium-sized screws in it, and this one was the short, so I went to medium on this one and long on the backs here. So I'll get this torqued down. Again, I don't have torque values. Make sure that Allen key is in there correctly. Let's go ahead and get this one tightened down. Should locate. Okay. And again, finger tight is not a torque value, but that's what I'm doing. Finger tight. There you go. All right, so that appears to be on. Now let's go ahead and get our tourniquet set up and shoved in here. All right, so I have a new cat tourniquet here. 1110 does sell these hard cases here for different tourniquets. They had one for the soft T wide as well. I am going to put a link to all this stuff in the description, so if you want to snag that to help out. So this one comes up already set up. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter, as it were. A little bit more here. So hopefully that's short enough. Put it over on itself. Maybe a little bit too wide. We'll see. Shove that in there. There we go. So, doesn't seem to be interfering with the hood at all. Check that real quick. All right, so I had to refold this a couple of times just to get the right length here. The way I had it staged, it's a little bit too long, so it did interfere with the hood. Here the hood didn't, or I'm sorry, the red dot protector didn't open as far. But the way it is set up now, once I deactivate that hood. You know, the thumb guard's in the way there, but the gun draws without any issues. So pretty cool product. I like it. Not that expensive. I will put links to all the products here in the video description. If you're looking for another way to put a tourniquet on your person and you maybe don't have any more real estate on your belt, this is definitely a good solution. I would not, however, use this as a primary tourniquet holder because, like me, some of us may not be able to reach all the way around the front of our bodies to the front of the holster to pull this out in an emergency situation. So still carry that tourniquet on your belt that allows for either access with either hand, and then this as your secondary tourniquet. So there you go. Hope you'll have found this helpful. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, help us out with that algorithm as well. And then click that bell notification icon off to the right there so that you can be notified of any new content that we might post. Thank you so much for your time. Stay safe, and we'll see you out on the range.